Hopefully y'all think I look cute today because I'm filming like 10 videos back to back. Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Caitlin from Leave Me Alone Plants, and today we are here with another one of my friends, the Graptopetalum Paraguayense. We're gonna call it a ghost plant for the rest of this video because I'm bad at pronunciation. But yeah, there's a ton of varieties of these guys. This one that I have right here is specifically the peach variety. However, regardless of which variety you have, the care for them is more or less going to be about the same. Now we will be getting into all the good stuff, watering, lighting, propagation, and whatnot. So if you have one of these plants or if you are looking to get one of these plants, then keep on watching and I'm going to tell you how to keep these guys happy and healthy, even if you're like me and can't pronounce their name. Now, as I had mentioned, there are a ton of different varieties of these. They are all gorgeous in their own right. Some people refer to these as mother of pearl plants, and honestly I can see why. They almost have this iridescent feel to them with the beautiful pastel colors that they kind of have mixed together. It's almost like a Monet water painting in a way. One of my favorite varieties that I don't know the specific name of, but I'll put it down here. They kind of look like a rainbow on the plant. There's really just a ton of cool options out there, which I think is really great because oftentimes I know when people think of succulents, myself included, they're like, oh my god, succulents are so boring. I don't know why I always do that voice when I make fun of other people in the plant community. I'm sorry. But yeah, with that said, let's get into the basics. So starting out with sunlight. Well, unsurprisingly, like most succulents, these guys are going to like a lot of sunlight. Now, as I always state, here in Arizona, I am a little hesitant to put these guys in complete direct light, but I do give them a little bit of direct light for like an hour or two a day. They seem to be able to handle that. I might consider bumping it up a little more. If they're not getting enough light, what you will notice is these guys start to stretch out. They'll kind of just be long and leggy and stemmy, and I mean, hey, if that's the look you're going for, I mean, by all means, go ahead, give them less light. But if you're looking for kind of a more full plant, then definitely bump up that light. Now, the other thing that you will notice is kind of depending on the amount of light that you're giving these plants, it's going to kind of adjust the color. As I mentioned, I have the peach variety right here, which kind of varies in hues from a pink to a purple to an orangey color. With that said, if you're not giving them enough light, they kind of revert back to almost like a greenish, grayish color. Again, really depending on what your goal is with how these plants look, you can kind of give them sun accordingly. Now, as for watering, I think one of the biggest areas that you can go wrong with these plants is when it comes to overwatering. These guys in no way want to be sitting in water. They don't want their roots to be wet for extended periods of time. So really what I recommend doing is going in, giving them a really thorough heavy watering, and then just letting it dry out completely. Don't, go in when it's like kind of dry, but not really. Really, seriously, I mean, just let them dry out, let them do their thing, and then when they're kind of, looking ready, that's when you're gonna wanna go in. Now, I think one thing that's worth noting, not only for these, but like any succulent that you might be buying at a big box store, is the soil that they are going to come in when you get them from those stores. In my personal experience, soil that they put those in tend not to be the greatest. Not that it's not a mix that's meant for cacti, more so in the sense of what happens when you let that soil dry out completely. I personally find that it almost like shrink wraps onto itself and gets really compact and like not breathable around the roots. So personally, I like to go in and kind of knock some of that soil off right away and replace it with kind of a more free-flowing mix. That's just me. The reason I bring this up now though is just in terms of when you're going to water this, I think this might be confusing for some beginners. You might go in with your watering can and give it a ton of water, but if it is to that point where it completely dried out and it is like that soil that's not the best, what I find can happen is it can completely like just drain through around the sides of the soil and not get into it at all, and your roots are going to die back in that scenario. So just be mindful that when you are watering it, if like that water seems like it's just instantly pouring through the bottom of the pot, it might either be worth going in and bottom watering it or knocking some of that really hard, stiff, kind of like sucked in soil off of there and replacing it with something that is going to maybe allow that water to move through the roots a little more freely. Now, one of the things I think is actually really interesting about these plants is their preference for temperature. I guess for some reason, when I think of succulents, in my mind, I default to thinking that they enjoy like really hot weather. And the thing with these is they can actually tolerate up to freezing temperatures. I think they can go down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit actually, so they're pretty cold hardy, which is really great if you live somewhere that, you know, isn't Arizona where it gets a little colder. You know, if you have them outside overnight, you really don't have to worry too much about dying quite a bit into the winter. With that said, living here in Arizona, it gets, as you can probably imagine, incredibly hot. And I actually had quite a few casualties of these guys over the summer this year. I believe that it was actually due to how hot it was. Now, I don't tend to have a ton of succulents personally, but my friend actually really loves succulents. She has a ton, and it's funny. We were on a walk talking the one day, and she's like, oh my god, all my succulents are melting. I was like, oh my god, me too. So I'd say really, if it gets above like 90 degrees, these guys start to kind of suffer, and they really don't do well, and for all intents and purposes, they basically start to melt. So just be mindful, I guess, if you're somewhere like Las Vegas or Arizona, or I'm not sure where else it is sweltering hot, but if you live somewhere like that, then just be mindful in the summer that even though they are succulents, they don't necessarily love to be baking in the super, super hot weather. Going off of that, their growing season actually is the winter time. In the summer, they can go a little bit dormant. So I guess just set your expectations there that likely in the winter time is when you are going to see these guys growing a little more as opposed to the summertime, which I know is a little bit counterintuitive because it's typically the opposite for most plants. But yeah, I guess just something different to look forward to in the winter time when all your other plants are going dormant. Now, as for propagating these, it's super, super easy. As you can see, they basically have these little petals on here, and I'm not gonna do it right now because your girl is not trying to propagate something right now. But basically all you have to do is kind of just wiggle these around or twist them off. And once you get that leaf off there, try and get it, you know, directly to the stem. Don't like crack it off halfway up the leaf. But when you get it right to the base, you can either kind of just lay it on soil and keep that soil moist. It'll root up from there. I think like everybody in the world by now has probably seen that like 5-minute crafts plant hack videos where they like take these, cut little holes in the side of a water bottle and like stick them in there and fill it up with some water. That's totally works too. Believe it or not, for once, a 5-minute crafts video actually gives you some advice that actually works. So yeah, really easy to propagate these guys. You of course can do stem cuttings too. I think most people when they propagate these, they just kind of do a leaf cutting because it's like the lowest hanging fruit, I guess. So yeah, super easy to propagate these. Now, as I had mentioned, you can kind of twist these off, but I guess in general, if you're kind of moving them around or repotting them, or if you have like kids who bump into your plants or something, just be mindful that it is kind of easy to pop these leaves off, so just be careful with handling it. Additionally, try and bring this a little bit closer. You may be able to see that it kind of has like this white powdery substance on there almost. And this will make sense if you have a plant like a donkey tail. I'm trying to think of anything else has those. I feel like it's just the donkey tail is the one example that comes to mind. But kind of that white fine powder on those leaves. Try to avoid handling this plant, I guess, as much as you can. It does have that little downy, I don't know, powder. I think there's an official word for it. I'm not sure. But once that rubs off, it basically isn't coming back, and it kind of, in my opinion, is what makes this plant look so delicate and beautiful and like painted watercolor. So try and yeah, just try and leave it on there, I guess. Finally, in terms of how big these guys can get, as you can probably see, I have this one right here, which is a little bit bigger, and then these guys are all kind of a little smaller. The plant itself can get pretty big, but what's really cool is they actually spread really fast. I'll put some pictures over here, but there's a ton of examples online of how these guys like just form these beautiful clusters of plants. I think they are gorgeous. I wish I had an area outside to plant these. Sadly, I live in an apartment, so nowhere in the ground for me to plant these right now. But the plant that they remind me of from back when I lived in New York, if anyone's familiar with these, are the chicks and hen succulents. I don't know, my mom always had those when I was growing up, and kind of the way that they just spread throughout the ground is what these guys really remind me of. So yeah, final selling point with these that I think makes them really great for people with children or pets is that they are considered to be non-toxic, so you have the green light there. Overall, I think these plants are really great for honestly anyone who's a beginner. I think you can grow these in almost any environment as long as you can give them enough light. So overall, these plants get 2 thumbs up for me. Hopefully that answered all your questions, but if it did not, then as always, drop it in the comment section down below and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If you learned something new today, please hit that like button. It definitely helps me out. And if you stuck around at the end, you at least must have liked this video a little bit. So hey, I guess why not subscribe while you're here too, so you can see more videos like this in the future. As always, thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.